So hello everyone, and welcome to our webinar on using Boolean operators to power your FSTA search on the Web of Science platform.
Okay, thank you everybody. And thanks for the people who put in some answers in the chat box. So hopefully this webinar will answer all your questions, but throughout do ask questions if they come up. So I'm going to start with a one slideshow. Now I'm moving to the very standard way that people try to represent how the Boolean operators work. And so Boolean operators, you might be familiar with them from searching or from coding. So they're a logic that dictate the relationship of one thing to another thing. And so you can use them to make sure that you're getting out of a search what it is that you actually need and focusing it so that you're not having to troll through a bunch of extra stuff that's really irrelevant. So the three most common Boolean operators, the ones that we're going to look at today, are and, or, and not. And we're going to mostly focus on and or because you can really use them to build a powerful search. So and is the one that says that both things, if you have two things, two search terms, need to be appearing in your result. So you can see that we've got a Venn diagram there with the red, which can stand for all the results in FSTA that have the word aroma in them. And then there's on the left side, on the right side, there's a blue circle that can stand for all the records in FSTA that have the term chocolate in them. And when we connect aroma and chocolate, then we're saying that we only want to see those results that have both words in them. So ones that have aroma and chocolate in them. And so if they have chocolate and stuff about sugar content or weight loss or whatever, but they don't say anything about aroma, we aren't going to see those. Likewise, if they have aroma, but don't have anything about chocolate in them, we will not see those. So we're focusing our search with the and. Or works the opposite way. So or is a way to broaden a search. And you can use it for synonyms, but you can also use it for words that aren't actually particularly synonyms, but they work for your purposes to capture a concept that you need. So in this diagram, we've got two circles again. We have texture on one side, mouthfeel on the other. And by connecting those terms with an or, we're saying that we want all of our records to have either the word texture or the word mouthfeel in them, but we don't care which. So either one is equally good. And some of them will probably have both texture and mouthfeel in them, and that's fine too. So when you're building a search, you usually use a combination of these terms. So you can see underneath the and the or, we've got another Venn diagram. And on one side, we've got texture or mouthfeel. So this big grouped concept together that we've built. And then we're intersecting it with an and with bread. So in that case, we'll get records that they all will have bread in them because we're stipulating that we need bread in them. But some of them might have texture, some of them might have mouthfeel, and some of them might have bread and texture and mouthfeel. So we're saying that whichever way we want to, either of these concepts, either of these words representing the concept for texture or mouthfeel is fine, as long as it also has bread. Not removes the class of terms. So it's really powerful, but it's also dangerous. If I were to do a search about potatoes and I was getting tons and tons of results about sweet potatoes, and I said, I really don't want to see anything about sweet potatoes, I just want potatoes, then I could build a search with potato, not sweet. But the problem with building that search is that then maybe I would have results that use sweet in a way that I hadn't anticipated. And so I might be missing relevant results by removing everything that has sweet in it. So not very powerful, but it's better as a tool for you figuring out what is happening in your search than to actually use to build a search most of the time. So it's like a stepping stone tool rather than the final search. So we'll look at how we can use it really effectively. So now I'm going to go ahead and exit my very short slideshow, hopefully, and go into FSTA. So the first thing I always like to do when I go into FSTA and Web of Science is point out that there's different ways that you might get to it, but there's one way that I would recommend. So when I log in, I always land on this Web of Science core collection. So I don't want to be there. I want to go and select specifically FSTA, which I can do here. And that's because it gives me some different search facility options that aren't available if I'm searching all databases. So you can theoretically go to all databases and then go and just search FSTA. Oops, if you click it correctly. But I would really recommend instead going directly into FSTA, because when you're doing all databases and then FSTA, you only get to search the fields and facets that are available on every other database that might be on the Web of Science platform. So this gives you the full amount of ways that you can build a really good search in FSTA. So here I am in what's called document search. It's also called basic search, and we're going to start building a search here. If you're not familiar with it, topic search is a really great way to search for something where you're looking for a subject and you're not sure who wrote the papers on it. So what it does is it searches 3 fields. It searches the title field, the abstracts field, and also the descriptors. And the descriptors are the thesaurus controlled vocabulary terms that are added to records to help discovery. So they are this is really the best way to build a search is using the topic combination field to build it most of the time, unless you're trying to do something really specific. So I'm going to start with a search where I want to find some really specific information about how Salmonella can be spread in feed, but actually more how it can be inhibited from spreading in poultry through their feed. And so my first concept that I'm going to search is food safety. And I'll search it. And when I do, I get a lot of results. I get 245,000, so very broad. And then if I go back, I click on it, then I have the option to build my search further. So I'm going to move this from author to topic again. And you'll see that there's pull down menu and there's and here. So I could change it to or not, but I'm going to keep it and. So I'm going to add my next concept to intersect with food safety. So I will, and I'm going to search Salmonella. And now my results have gone down to about 10% of what I got when I just searched food safety. And we can see right here from the highlighted terms that these are having food safety and Salmonella. So I can hit search again, add another concept. So the next one's poultry. Hit search, and you can see from my search results, I'm getting more specific. And here I can see food safety, salmonella, and poultry. Add another one. Always connected with and here. So inhibit. And I'm going to truncate this one because that will let me get a variety of words that start with inhib. So inhibition, inhibits, inhibit. I don't know if there's a word inhibitory. I don't know. But I'm going to search that again, and my results are getting more specific. So 515. If I open up the first record, then I see poultry. And where are the other terms? Sometimes you have to do a little bit of a search. So food. Okay, so food safety is showing up there. Salmonella is also one of the keywords or thesaurus terms that has been added to this record to make you able to discover it, even though the abstract is incredibly short. So it really fleshes it out so that we can find what it is that we need. And then poultry and where's inhibit? Got to do a search again. Sometimes inhibition again was another one of the keywords that was added to the record. So if I go back here and add one more concept, so feed, and I'm going to truncate that as well, so I get feed or feeds. Then we get 71 results. And so you can see how by adding each concept with an and, we've really managed to get more and more specific with our results. And so I could open each of these 71 up and they would all contain all 5 of my concepts. So I have really specified what it is that I'm looking for. But you don't always want to just use build a search with a whole bunch of different one-word concepts like this. Food safety is this phrase, but it's basically one phrase. So there are times when you'll want to use or to cast a wider net for a particular concept. So if I go back to search here and clear out the food safety, I can do a search for big birds and their eggs. So when I'm thinking of big birds, I'm thinking of ostriches. So I can truncate that. So if I search for ostriches alone, I just get 394 results. If I search for ostriches or rheas, then I get a few more results. And if I add emus, then suddenly I get an awful lot more results. So this is the moment where actually maybe I think, why would there be so much more literature about emus in the database than there is about either rheas or ostriches? So I might think I should really check what's going on with emus. So I'm going to set aside this search so far, and I'm going to actually do a search with not to see what happened with that term, because I noticed that it seems to be radically different. So a shortcut for using not is to just search in the title field, because then you don't have to open up results to see what's going on, but it'll just be right in front of you in the title. And so I'm going to type the truncated emu again, but then I'm going to type not, and then I'll type emu. Okay, so just emu singular or emus plural, because that's what I was hoping to get when I typed emu truncated. So then by keeping these, the things with an or, inside the parentheses there, I'm grouping them together. I'm keeping them in their own circle as a group. And then I'm taking them away from whatever else it is that emu is bringing me, the truncated emu is bringing me. So I hit search. And right away, I can see that I'm getting emulsifying, emulsions, emulsion, emulsifiers, emulsion, etc., etc. So it is really clear that in this case, emu isn't a great word to truncate if I'm looking for the birds. So I'm going to go back to my search and modify it. So I can keep emu or emus, and then add or ostriches, which did work fine, truncated, or rheas, truncated, fine. And then I'm going to remember not to just look in the title now, but move this back to topic. So I'll search that. I get 600 results, all of which are about the various birds. But I want to, if you'll remember, actually find literature about their eggs. So I'm going to modify this one and keep the pull down menu as the and put in eggs here. And I will try truncating it and hit search. And then I get 71 results. And I can see that here's one about emus and eggs, emu eggs, as well as hen eggs. Emu egg again, lots of emu stuff. Here's emu and ostrich eggshells. So again, I think whether I wanted to have eggshells as part of this or not, but all of these will be about the birds that I was searching and about eggs. So this is a way in which you can use the combined Boolean operators to find literature that you want. I'm going to go back to this and say that it's really useful to keep your ors, type them out yourself here, and keep them in a single box together, because that will group them together, keep them as the concept, and then use a different box for a different concept that you combine to whatever else you've already typed with the and. So that's a very neat and tidy way to build a search. So the Web of Science platform has not just the basic search, although this is the one that I definitely use the most myself, and it is a nice search interface to use. But if you go back to search, then you have the option to go to advanced search. And advanced search looks more complicated, but it is using the same Booleans and or not, and it will show your search history as you've built it. So we can see how, as we added each of the 5 concepts for the first search, we got progressively more focused. We can see how we, had this massive jump here with the truncated emu, and then we figured out what was happening there. So if we wanted to, we could actually clear out both of those and see just how it worked with these combined to get the 71. It's interesting, today it's 71 results for this search and 71 results for this search. So if you want to delete any row, then it is I want to do it. Where is it? I don't want to combine them. I don't want to clear my whole history. Apologies, I thought that you could just delete it right by clicking there, but no. So we're going to leave that alone. But we could build a search in this. It looks more complicated, but it's built on the same principles. So for instance, if we wanted to build to find literature about that were systematic reviews about childhood obesity, then we could build a search using this box. So here we can see we've got the label again for topic. So we could start out with the obesity concept and add it to our query. And you can see TS means topic search, and that's the term that we searched, obesity. And then we could add our next concept. So we can do the same thing that I recommended with keeping the concepts all together in a box. So pediatric or pediatric spelled this way, or child. So children or childhood or child, and then add this with and to our search. And you can see how these have all been put automatically inside the parentheses so that they are grouped together. And then we have another concept, systematic review. The systematic review, add it to the query with and. So now instead of seeing it in 3 boxes on top of each other, we're seeing it in 1 row, but it's the same as though we'd built it in 3 boxes on top of each other. So we hit search and we get 389 results that have each of our concepts in them. So this one, it has childhood obesity and pediatric obesity, a systematic review. This is children, systematic review, and it will have obesity in it somewhere, even though it's not showing up until we open up the record, but there it is in the abstract. And so we'll know that each of these results has our concepts in it. So that's a kind of a whirlwind introduction to using or review of using the Boolean operators to organize your search so that you really are getting what you're hoping you're getting out of your searching. So the main points that I would emphasize is always, always, always remember to keep your or things together, either in a box or if you're somehow typing it out completely on your own, to put those inside brackets yourself so that they're grouped together.
Thank you so much, Carol, for your presentation and for taking us through the details there. We haven't received any questions as of yet, so if anyone is interested in sending a question to us, then please do that using the chat function now, and we'd be more than happy to discuss it further. Alternatively, if you think of a question after today's event and would like to still speak to us about it, then you can send us an email or contact us on social media, and we'd be more than happy to discuss it further with you. So again, it doesn't look like we've had any questions through, so hopefully that means that it's because Carol's presentation was lovely and thorough. So thank you very much, Carol, for all your work on that. If anyone does have any questions, then we will stick around for a moment or two longer. Otherwise, thank you so much for joining us today. And we hope you've enjoyed this look into using Boolean operators to power your FSTA search on the Web of Science platform and gained a better understanding of the FSTA search process. We hope that FSTA continues to be a valuable tool in your food science research. At the end of today's webinar, you'll be directed to a questionnaire about your experience today, and we'd be grateful to any feedback you can supply. so that we can ensure future webinars are as beneficial as possible and expand our services in order to best support our customers and the food science community. Thank you very much, everybody.
Yeah, thank you.